Navy SEALs. You are about to begin one of the most inhumane training sessions on the planet.
It's 3 a.m. and you're shivering in the ocean. An instructor yells in your ear, and you don't know if you'll survive another day. This is the beginning of a process designed to break your mind and rebuild you from scratch.
One of the tests is surf torture, where they force you to lie at sea level. Move it, maggot! Faster, or you'll never make it!
While icy waves hit you non-stop, day and night, with wind. You can't move. The objective isn't the cold. It's to see how long it takes you to mentally give up. And this is just the surface. These agents are combat specialists in any imaginable environment.
And that's why they don't make it easy for you. Because before wearing that prestigious patch, you have to survive hell.
Everything begins in what is called BUD/S, a training program of more than 6 months. That could easily be mistaken for a legalized torture process. And in the midst of all that is Hell Week. 5 days without sleep, literally.
5 days of running in the sand, carrying logs, doing push-ups in freezing mud.
War drills, night dives, obstacle swimming, and extreme exercises under constant surveillance. Most drop out. Only 25% of candidates finish the program. Many suffer physical collapses, stress fractures, hypothermia fainting, or mental crises.
And even so, the hard part is what come next. The SEALs.
SEALs operate in small teams of 8 to 10 men. They are so precise that they can infiltrate from submerged submarines, drop from helicopters into combat zones, or emerge directly from the sea by diving. Their specialty is surgical attack. Enter, eliminate, and exit.
In silence, quickly, and without leaving a trace.
They were created in 1962 by direct order of President Kennedy, who believed the Navy needed its own image of terror. Since then, these men have operated in the most secret and lethal missions on the planet.
They are responsible for eliminating Osama bin Laden in Operation Neptune Spear in 2011.
And rescuing Captain Phillips from Somali pirates.
Today, there are around 2,500 active SEALs, distributed in 8 main teams
that are deployed all over the planet. But behind all this, there is an uncomfortable truth. They live in a state of chronic, controlled violence. Where the slightest mistake can cost you your life. Navy SEALs are the most famous special operations force of the U.S. Navy. But there are other units that operate in complete anonymity. Because what they do goes beyond the Rangers.
You're on a plane about to parachute directly into the center of an armed conflict.
You're not invisible, you don't have special equipment.
You only have your training and a clear order. Be the first to arrive and the last to leave. That's what a normal day in your life as a ranger would be like.
But what you didn't know is that this jump is only the easiest part.
The Rangers of the 75th Regiment are the deadliest light infantry unit in the U.S. Army.
And when they say light, they refer to the speed with which they can appear at your door. Open fire and disappear before dawn. Unlike the Navy SEALs, the Rangers don't expect to go unnoticed.
But to sweep everything away. They trace their lineage back to 1756.
But the modern version was formalized in 1974.
The training is a timed nightmare. Every aspirant must go through Ranger School, a 61-day experience.
In the swamps of Georgia, where little sleep is had, barely any food is eaten, and much suffering occurs.
It's not just about enduring pain. It's about learning to keep leading while your body shuts down.
But if you think the training is brutal, wait until you see how they operate.
The Rangers are designed for large-scale direct actions.
They are the first to arrive when an airport needs to be taken. An enemy position captured, or a night offensive launched en masse.
They present themselves as an avalanche that sweeps away everything in its path.
They were the ones who led the invasion of Grenada in 1983. They jumped in Panama in 1989.
And perhaps most infamously, they were the main body in Mogadishu in 1993.
The operation that ended in disaster and inspired the movie Black Hawk Down.
In fact, they are the Special Operations Unit that has carried out the most deployments since the 9/11 attacks.
Every mission, every sortie they make, is one more opportunity not to return. But the most disturbing thing is that these are the most conventional within the world of special operations.
The truly extreme begins now with the Green Berets.
If you're a Green Beret, your mission isn't to enter with explosions. In fact, if all goes well, no one should know you were there. It's the most cerebral, ambiguous, and strategic unit in the U.S. Army. They were created in 1952 with a very specific purpose: to teach others how to make revolutions.
They are the adults of the special operations world. And each of them is trained in 4 different disciplines: weapons, communications, medicine, and demolition. They work in teams of 12 operators, known as ODA, Operational Detachment Alpha. But each of those 12 can operate independently. To be selected, you need much more than strength or discipline.
You need to have a cool head, understand foreign cultures, learn languages from scratch, negotiate with local leaders, and sometimes make decisions that can destabilize entire countries.
They have operated in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and other places that even Congress hasn't authorized.
Today, there are about 7,000 active Green Berets, divided into 7 main groups.
Each focused on a different region of the planet. You won't see many movies about them, and that's exactly how they want it. Their motto is De oppresso liber, which means to free the oppressed.
Sounds noble, until you realize that often that liberation comes in the form of a gunship.
And with a plan that started years ago without anyone noticing. And when the operation is over, they don't stay to pick up the pieces. They shave their beards, put away their fake passports, and vanish. To enter the Marine Raiders, there's a filter that goes beyond.
You can't enter as a civilian. The selection process is based on 3 weeks of physical, psychological, and mental tests in hostile environments.
Without clear explanations or a fixed structure. Only those who show resilience without needing external validation pass.
Here, no one applauds you for enduring.
Today, there are around 2,400 active raiders, organized into 3 battalions, and deployed on direct action, special reconnaissance, and foreign internal defense missions.
They work in teams of 14 operators in regions like the Philippines, Africa, and the Middle East.
Often in areas where the rest of the forces have already failed. They have their origin in World War II, when the first Marine Raiders carried out amphibious guerrilla operations in the Pacific. The name was rescued decades later as a way to honor that tradition.
But with modern equipment, real-time intelligence, night vision, and tactical drones.
The interesting thing is that for years, the Marine Corps itself opposed having modern raiders, for fear that the rest of the corps would feel less special. However, after the first deployments, that perception disappeared. Today, within the same Corps, there are Marines who avoid confronting raiders in joint training. And not out of respect, but out of statistics. Although they don't have the fame of the SEALs nor the history of the Green Berets, the Raiders have gained ground as one of the units with the highest operational effectiveness in recent years. The next unit combines surgical skills, aviation, and armed medical rescue in a single operator. And most don't even know it exists. Air Force Special Tactics. If you're part of this unit, your job is triple. You have to fight, coordinate air attacks in real time, and also save lives under fire. All at the same time.
What differentiates them from the rest is that they are not designed to initiate an operation, but to ensure that other units can complete it with air cover, medical evacuation, and precise coordination.
Some operators infiltrate first, often alone, to prepare landing zones in remote locations, and guide aircraft in the midst of combat. Others work embedded with ground units, directing air bombardments from the front. Marking targets in real time for fighter jets flying at over 10,000 meters. Their presence turns a conventional confrontation into a high-precision operation.
There are also those responsible for rescuing the wounded.
They don't wait for them to arrive. They jump from helicopters directly into combat zones
To extract fallen operators while there are still shots being fired.
The training is long, fragmented, and extremely selective.
In some cases, it can last up to 2 years, including advanced medicine, halo jumping, combat diving.
These operators have been present in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and other areas where an exact combination of these skills was needed. On more than one occasion, a single operator has been responsible for directing the entire air traffic of an improvised base in the middle of the desert,
while combat was still active.
While other forces advance, these operators ensure there's an exit, cover, and a second chance for those already out of combat.
But from here, things get really serious. The Delta Force.
You don't have a patch, you don't wear an identifiable uniform, and you don't appear on official lists. If you die, your mission will be classified. And if you survive, you won't be able to tell your story. You are part of Delta Force, the most secret counterterrorism unit in the U.S. Army. And your existence, technically, is not confirmed by the government. It was founded in 1977 by Colonel Charlie Beckwith, who had observed the structure of the British SAS and proposed creating an equivalent force in the United States. What he proposed was not just another elite corps. It was a unit separate from the conventional military system, with its own recruitment, autonomous training, and direct access to presidential operations. Its official name is unknown because they change it often. If you're in, you don't have a name either. You're simply called by your function, operator. The selection process is shrouded in secrecy. There are no announcements or open calls. They recruit directly from experienced operators from any branch of the military. The selection includes navigating mountainous terrain for hours without rest. Psychological tests that push to the limit, and simulated missions where what is measured is how you think, while everything fails. Most don't finish, and many return with sequelae. Once inside, you work in small teams of 4 to 6 operators.